Welcome back to another episode of Exit 45. And I have been I didn't know what I was going to do with this. So am I going to rebuild it? Am I going to take it to somebody to rebuild? Am I going to just stick it back in there? It's been sitting for 40 years, and I just couldn't put it back underneath there the way it was. So guess what? We're going to rebuild it. Got the engine done, so why not? Let's tackle this. All right, so here we go. All right, so let me start this by saying that I am going to get through this probably completely because of the video that was put out on Angel's Garage. If you haven't checked that one out, it's a pretty thorough rebuild of the transmission. He's also got a teardown one, but his installation, putting it all back together was pretty thorough. Between that and my manual, I think I can get through this. So appreciate you putting that out. All right, so let's get to it. All right, well, this is where we begin. Got to make it bleed. All right, we're going to get all this drained out and get it back up on the bench and see if we can start disassembling this. Well, guys, I am so happy I decided to do this because this is terrible. I've never seen it like this. There's stuff in here. There's chunks. Yeah. All kinds of garbage in here. Yep. All right, well, it was a good decision. I still got to build it, so we'll see if it was a good decision. I may be taking a pile of parts over to the transmission shop. All right, so before I get going on this, I'll let you get a look at all the debris in that filter. Man. Other than that, I can look around this thing, and everything looks to be in pretty good shape. I don't see anything that looks terrible. I don't see anything, rusty or anything like that. It all looks pretty good, at least as far as I can see. So that's good. I'm happy about that. So I'm just going to start this process, I guess, of trying to figure out how this thing comes apart and figure out how to remember how it came apart. We'll figure it out. All right, so these are not coming off. I have tried and tried and tried, and all I'm doing is twisting up the line here. And this side here, you can see I twisted that. I finally did get this one to come off. But this one here, I'm even using a tube, wrench, and it's just stripping it out. I can't get it to come, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut the line. I think they sell these, and get some new ones. I'm not going to mess with it. Okay, so I've got the cone. Next thing I need to do is I'm going to pull, get a better view here so we can see, but pull this one, and this one here should come out as well. This one should come out, and that one. I think those are all the lines that can come out. So I'm going to pop all those out, and just so we can get an idea of where they all go when I go to put it back together. All right, 2 bolts here holding on this doohickey. I absolutely know nothing about transmission, so whatever that is, looks like there's 2 bolts, and these tubes here, it looks like if I can it's loose. There you go. See, it's just wants to come out, so I'll just work that out of here. Okay, that wiggled out of there just fine, and then this fell out, so this looks like it goes from there, and it goes down into one of these bands. You can see here for tightening that band. So whatever it was I pulled out was in charge of this band right here. All right. All right, so the next thing coming off looks to be the valve body here. And there's just these 3 screws, looks like. I've got them loose. And then it looks like it just comes out somehow. I'll figure it out, but it's loose, so there's something down there holding it. I'll figure it out. Haven't been able to get that out just yet, so I decided to work on this. It's just these 2 bolts, and it loosened up pretty easy. Just came right out. Okay, looked like it had another one of these on here, and it fell down in there, so I'll retrieve that a little later. But so anyway, so once again, this looks like another item that controls the your band here. So okay, now let's see if I can't figure this thing out. Well, so it was the vacuum doohickey that was in here that was holding this in. So now it comes right out. There you go. Okay, so the next piece to come out would be whatever this is. There's a bolt right here. There you go. And it looks like the other one is under these springs, so I'm going to have to pull this off and get these out of here so I can get to that one. All right, so there's the springs. I got them out. I just got the top side released, and then you had to get the bottom side. But just understand there's under a lot of stress, so be careful. And now I'm able to get to the other bolt and get this out. All right. All right, so I have been working on getting the aft shaft and all of this pulled out of here. And there is a tube that you have to pull out before you can take this out right here. And that is hard as heck to get out. Let me just tell you, I ended up having to take this lag screw that kind of was able to get it in there. Just get it in there enough where I could wiggle and pull and you know, jiggle this around, jiggle this. And I finally found something I could get wedged in there enough where I could get it to work it out of there. So if you're doing this, that is a pain in the butt. The service manual right here shows you here a special tool to get that out. Well, of course, you know, none of us are going to have that special tool. So anyway, I figured out a way to get it out. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, so now that I've got that tube out, this should come right out of here. All right, there we go. There's a little thrust washer that came loose. We'll just put that in there. Set this back. All right, now got to figure out how the rest of this comes out. All right, so I'm having trouble getting this this other drum here out. I was able to get this one to come out. You saw that, but I can't get this one. And this shaft here is connected to the output shaft there. So this is not. So I'm going to, there we go. There we go. All right, so that just came right off. All right, let's put that over here. All right, let's see if that helps us at all. Okay, guys, so I just noticed, you know, I've been trying to get this second drum out of here, And I just noticed, I don't know if you can see, right there and right there, these bolts are line up with those, and it looks like there's an indent for this bolt to go in and hold that drum from coming out. So I loosened that one, and I loosened this one. So let's hope that does it. All right, let me get that pulled and let's see if that does it. How about that? All right, now this band is getting in my way. I'm trying, guys. Yeah. I feel like I'm creating more of a mess than I'm cleaning up here. This is my problem. This band right here. And I can't get this piece here to go through the band. So this, yeah, I don't know. There you go, guys. I get that all the time. It's the sound of freedom. Gotta love the Chinook. Okay, well, sorry for the distraction there with the helicopter, but, well, I found a way to get it. So instead of trying to get all of this to come through this, I found a way to just really pinch this down tight and get it to come through this opening. So just about got it through there. There we go. All right, let me pull the rest of that out. It should just come out now. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. Woo! All right, there's the other band. I don't know, they look like they might be in pretty good shape. I was worried that all the debris I found in there was these bands, but I feel like they're in pretty good shape. Well, I think we have successfully emptied out the case, so I can get this case good and clean and get it painted and be ready to go back together. I got the rebuild kit for all of that. Should be here tomorrow, so I should be able to start putting this together tomorrow sometime. And that's going to be the exciting and fun part. So there you go. We got the case all cleaned out. Came out good. So I'll get a coat of paint on that on the outside, and that'll be ready. I got the pan cleaned up. I just got to get the fill tube and the dipstick tube there off. So I haven't tackled that yet, but it's all clean. Okay, so I'm going to break into your regularly scheduled program here on this transmission build and show you what I just got in. Well, there you go. I got my rebuild kit. So Fatsco transmission parts. I literally ordered this, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, and I've already got it in. So, you know, as long as this thing pans out and these are good parts, you know, I would definitely recommend it, but we'll put it together before we do that. Anyways, there you go. So got a little bit of everything. You got your O-rings. There's my steel rings, oil seals. I ordered that separately. It comes with pressure your plates. I didn't get the steels. I just got the friction plates. Anyway, there you go. All right, she's all cleaned, painted, and ready for assembly. Looks good. All right, and over here I got all the pieces ready to go. I got the tail cone all cleaned up. It's gonna look good. You know, I still got the bell housing over there, but I'll clean that once it gets off. Once we get the engine off the stand. But there's everything here. I got my kit. You saw that. So we'll tackle this in the morning when my dad comes. He's gonna tackle this with me. He wanted to be a part of it, so we're gonna do that. All right, I'll check in with you guys tomorrow, and we'll get going on this. All right, so good morning, guys. We're about ready to get started on this journey. Dad came over this morning to help, like I told you yesterday. So we're ready to just jump into this because we know not what we're doing, and so we got a book that got us, a video, and just general mechanical knowledge, I guess. See where it takes us. All right, you ready? You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do this. All right, guys, so the first thing I need to do, there we go. See if we can pop off this linkage. There's an oil seal on the other side of this that I need to replace. Here, just a little tiny guy. Looks pretty straightforward. There's a nut here, and then there's a nut here, and I think I should be able to get that out. It's just, you know, remembering how things went in here. So, you know, it all works now, so it better all work when I'm done. Okay, it really wasn't terrible pulling all this apart. This here slides through this one, and then this slides through there, and there's our oil seal. So I'm just gonna use a little pick here and try to get that out, but I'm not gonna do it with one hand. All right. Oop, there you go. Got it out. Let's get the new one in. And there's the new one set in place. And we can just tap her into place. All right. In theory, this looks really easy to do, but it is really not. Trying to get the flats. So on this shaft, there's a couple of flats that this lever here slides onto. Trying to get that to happen without this pushing back out, and trying to keep that little detent right there. So like you can see that detent spring loaded. You have to hold that in with one finger. You're trying to hold this in, and you don't have many fingers left to try and get all of this together without that spring-loaded bullet coming out of there. Anyways, I got it in, and it functions like it's supposed to. So we're good. I'm going to tighten this, and then I will put the kick down lever in there, and I think we'll be good. All right, kick down's in. It's all good. Just make sure your arms are facing forward when you put them in. And you should be good to go. All right, let's move on. Okay, so I think the next thing we're going to work on is this drum, the rear drum, I guess. And we're going to go ahead and get the shaft out of here. So there's a couple of rings right here that were just on here. So we'll get those off. We'll just set those aside. All right, and then, yeah, it looks like we got some of the steel rings here. There's a couple of them. So we're going to pull those and then see if that'll allow us to slide this shaft out. Okay, you can see here we got the shaft out, and we had to pull these. Of course, we pulled that, and we had to pull 2 steel rings from these 2 grooves, and then we were able to slide that out. And be careful, be aware that when you go pull that out, all these bearings are loose in here, and you're going to need to get, you don't want those falling out and rolling on the floor, and you know how that works. You'll never see them again. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to pull all these out, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so as we start to continue on our path of disassembling this snap ring just goes in up underneath there and holds that all down. So I just knocked that out of there. We'll set that aside, and then we'll take off our top ring here. Okay, and then you can see it's exposed all of our clutch pads. Well, which don't look to be in terrible shape. But I got new ones, so they're going in. So you can see they're locked in to here, so it can be a little bit of a pain. But just patience, and you can get them out. Or you could just tip it upside down and dump them out, I guess. I'm just trying to keep everything in order that they came out, so it'll make it easier going back together. Now the next thing, this drum inside of here has a big seal around it, and I want to get to that and replace it. But in order to do that, I've got to push, this is like a big spring in here. You see it right there. So we need to be able to push down on both sides with the press so that I can get this lock ring right here. Let me get a little closer. There you go. You see it right there? And we need to be able to pull that out and then let that spring back out. So we're going to probably have to MacGyver this. I don't have whatever special tool, so I'm going to figure this out, as I go. So I'm going to head over to the press. You guys are welcome to come if you want. All right, so I'm over at the press, and I think I've got something that will probably work, but it's pretty sketch. It was my dad's idea, so I'm just kidding. This is my idea. Let me show you what we got, and I don't even know if it'll work. I haven't tried to pull the little clip out yet, but I'll tell you what, it's like playing Jenga blocks, all right? That's about what it reminds me of. Let me show you. There you go. So I got this bar going across here. I got these 2. I've already depressed it enough where I've taken the pressure off of that ring. I just enough to take the pressure off. I didn't push it down too far. Now let's see if I can actually, without this collapsing, if I can get that out of there. All right. You guys are never going to believe this, but there you go. I got it out, and it was a pain, but I am the king of Jenga blocks. That's all I got to say. And there you go. Okay, back at the bench where things are a lot less sketchy. And there's that spring that we were compressing, which was pretty well compressed. I mean, it was tight, so a lot tighter than I thought it was. That's got to be clean jet. Okay, so with that out, this drum right here, we should be able to get that out, and I don't know how hard or easy that'll be, so I'm going to have to play around with that. But it does just pull out. I just don't know how difficult it's going to be. There's an O-ring around it, and I think I told you guys that already, so I'm just repeating myself. You can just take this, you can see how it's loose in here. Not this shaft here, it's just this, there you go, see? And
This is
there's your ring that we're trying to replace. All right, so let me get a new ring on here, and then we'll clean everything and go back together with it. But there's another O-ring that goes down into that little ring down there, and I got it right here. I've already pulled the other one out, which wasn't fun, but we got it. And there you go. That one is in there. So you can see I got my new seal on here, and I'm taking some Type F transmission fluid. lubing it up real good. I've already lubed the drum up in here. So we'll go ahead and slide this back in. Just like that. Okay, we got it in with the new O-rings. We could get it to go so far, but those O-rings just made it tight going the rest of the way. And I just took a socket, extension, or an extension and a rubber mallet, and I just worked my way around it, tapping it, and it worked its way down in there, and she's good and seated now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start this process of putting the clutch pack in. We're going to start with the steel, and we'll work our way from there.
Ready?
Yep. That's pretty much how this goes. You're just going to alternate putting them in until you got them all in. Okay, and then when you're done with the clutch pack, you pull it back out because you didn't put your spring back in first. So we're going to go over there and play Jenga blocks again and see if we can't get this put back in, and then we'll put our clutch pack back in. Okay, we did it. You can see I've got the ring back in here, and it's holding down the spring, and that was no fun. So I highly do not recommend the Jenga method of doing this. So we got our clutch pack in. I don't know if it matters, but I kept these lined up. I assume there's a spline there for a reason, so I just made sure all the friction discs were lined up in the spline there. Then we just got to put our top plate back on.
Then we go for the snap.
And then we'll just put our snap ring back on. Hold up. There you go. All right. There. Now we've got this all back together, and I believe we have to take some clearance measurements here now. So let me figure out how to do that. And according to the kit that I've got, it should be somewhere between 30 and 55 thousandths. I've got this set for about 49, and that gets right in there. So I'm trying to give you a little bit of a, you can see I'm just compressing these discs down and seeing what I can get in there. And that's about what I can get in there. And that gives the clutch pack a little bit of a play in there. You don't want it too tight or too loose. All right, we're going to put the rear drum aside for now, and we're going to work on this one. I've already got the snap ring. Woo! Right there. This just pulls right out. Okay. And then we're going to go through the same process here. Yep, there's your clutch pack. Tell you what, these clutch pads just don't look as bad as I thought they would. There you go. All right, so we're going to work on rebuilding this one. I got the new clutch sitting back in there soaking, and I got to see if there's anything else that needs to come apart on this. Yeah, I don't know. All right, let me do a little bit of looking at the book and see what we got. All right, so we got there's a snap ring that went down and held all of this down in there. That was not fun to work that out of there. It goes down below the groove. I know, my hand's right in your way, sorry. It goes right down into a little groove down here, and it's really stiff. That was a kind of a pain to get out, but it comes out. And then we can start taking whatever. So there's another piston here that needs to slide out of there, and it's got a big O-ring around it. So we're gonna have to figure out how to get. Wonder what that does. We'll just set it over there. All right. So let me figure out. This thing just comes out just like the other one. I'm gonna have to see if I can't work it out of there. Okay. And so the cast iron part is what you're trying to get out right here. You can see it There we go. And you can see the ring that needs to be replaced right there. So we'll clean this, replace this ring, and put this back in. Got the drum all cleaned. Got this piston cleaned. New seal on it. And lubricated, so we can ready to put this back in. There's a little check ball in here. So just make sure that's still in there, didn't come out. And then I'll have to figure out how to get that one to go down in there because the other one was tight as well. So, all right, let me see if I can't work that down. Okay, so just like we normally do around here, I installed this and had to take it back out because there's an O-ring right there. So I'm going to get the O-ring and then I'm going to reinstall this and then we'll press on, okay? Hey, do it twice, garage. Okay, so we got the front drum all put back together. It was very similar to the rear. Just there's a this copper plate here, and on the underside there's a small round plate that, or like a disc, that goes on there as well. Make sure that's in place before you put this back on. But once you get that, put your snap ring back in, and then go ahead and put this on there. And then that's done. Now we're going to go ahead and get to the next phase, and we're going to start putting those needle bearings back in here. So I've already packed this with some Vaseline. That should hold those in there nicely. And then we'll put the two drums together. Okay, so we're about to slide the front and the rear drums together. And before we do, obviously make sure you've got your two washers on here and that the flat's engaged on the thicker washer. You see I spin it. There it goes. And then it locks in. And if you look down in there, all these little gear teeth, make sure that they are all lined up because they will need to slide onto this. All right. I'm going to go ahead and slide these two together and then we'll, it's probably going to be fun because we also got a couple of steel rings we got to get past. All right, we got, so you can see that drum comes up. So that means all of our pressure rings or pads are lined up. Now we just got to get past, the those steel rings. That's going to be the hard part, looks like. Well, that one of them steel rings had come out a little bit, so that probably didn't help much. Now those rings got out of adjustment. You can see this is not fun. Now I got to line these tabs all back up. All right, I got them relined up. Let's try it again. But they're not aligned. I'm not lined up to go in. All right. All right, let's try again. There we go. All right, now we got all those pressure plates, pads, clutch pads rather, lined up again. Now we just got to get past those snap rings or those metal rings. It's almost there. Aha, look at that.
Success.
We got it. All right, so there's the drums mated back together. All right, let's see what's next. We've got this all together now. It's all ready. We're going to go ahead and just slide this on in there until this seats up against there. All right, so let's go ahead and get that done. All right. Okay, so we got it in, and forgot to show you that this band goes in before the drums that we just put in, and it just comes in from the top here and goes down in there. Just make sure that you got this notch facing this. That's where it's going to lock in. All right. Okay, so the next thing that's going to go on is this, and this is kind of like I guess I would call it like a keeper. What this is going to do is going to slide into this area, and it's going to hold these two drums in place in here. This is held in place by 3 screws that go in here with little balled ends. There's one of these on either side of the case. You can see that. That is going to go in to there, and that'll hold it in place. So let's go ahead and slide it in. So just make sure that lines up with this one. The other two should line up on their own. Okay, I should be able to run the screw in on either side. And they went right in. And now it's in there, it won't move, it's locked in. Okay, so now that we got that, now we can go ahead and put our other band on here. And this, you're just going to squeeze it. Let me get this. Just going to squeeze it together. It should just go right in. Come on. There we go. And it goes right in. All right, and it goes right in. All right, needs to be squeezed again. Now we're getting it. There we go. All right, and it goes right in. I told you it goes right in. Okay, so we're gonna now put this, I don't know what we call it. There's a bunch of gears. I'm sure it has a name. But this thrust washer goes in down in there, so make sure that's in there. And I'm going to use a little Vaseline to hold it in place. Okay, there you go. You can see it down in there. All right, so now this thing is just going to slide right onto this one. And into the band you just put in. Now I just got to get them all to spline together. There it goes. There we go. All right. She snapped right in there. We also don't forget your thrust washer right here, or the copper one. All right, now that we have all this set, we're going to go ahead and put the tail shaft in, and the pump, and all of that. So this ought to be fun, getting all these to line up and get this all to spline on. But we'll get it. Wow. Sorry. All right, back to what we were doing. Trying to get all these tubes in is not fun. But I got it. Come on. There it goes. So we'll go ahead and bolt these in this in and we'll go from there. Okay, so we got the tail shaft on. I have to look back at some of my old video and figure out exactly where that goes. The next thing we want to do is get the front pump on. So I need to get this replaced.
Done?
Yeah. Go ahead and tighten these and torque these down, all right? Well, we are moving along. So, only thing we got left now is the guts. So, let's, oh, I'm bleeding. Oh, well. Anyway, we're gonna get the, there's a piston in here that's got an O-ring on it. So we're gonna get to that. We need, okay, so there's the pin that holds that arm on, and there's a little friction pin right here that needs to be punched out. Then this pin should come out, then this arm should come out. All right, we'll just knock this keeper pin out of here. All right, so here's the pin. You can see it coming out. There's a hole back here. There you go. You punch it out that direction. All right, you can see I got the pin knocked out enough to where it's clearing. You can see here, I'm able to knock out the pin there. There we go. All the bearings are coming out. That's okay. There we go. All right. All right, so we got the arm out. Just a couple of washers just like this. And if you can see, there's all my needle bearings and the two washers. Now we should be able to get this snap ring in here out. Of course, it's going to be a tight one. Oh, I had it. Woohoo! So apparently I should bring this to the press. That's why it was so tight. It was trying to tell me something. That was a good explosion. For future note, this needs to go to the press, hold that down, then pull the ring out. Note to self. Now there's a piston in here, and this is what we're trying to get to. There's an O-ring on it, so we'd like to get that out of there. There you go. Just pulls out. All right. Okay, and on this piston here, there's a little push that, and then that comes out, and there's another area in here that needs to be cleaned. Just push it again, and it'll go right back in as soon as you get it lined up good. There you go. Okay. All right, we're ready to put this together. I got my O-ring on. I've got some tranny fluid on it. So we're gonna go ahead and slide that back in. If you remember my deadly spring, that almost got me. Goes on, okay. Then we're gonna put the cap back on this thing. And that's going to go just like that, but I got to take it over to the press because if you remember, I didn't do that on the first attempt when I took it apart and it flew off. So I'm going to run this over to the press. We're going to press it down. Then I can put my snap ring on. Snap ring's back in. There's a little tab right there. Make sure that's in the groove right there. So that lines up this this window here. Okay, so we're going to start to work those needle bearings back into the arm, pump arm here. So you can see I got a little bit of Vaseline in there. We're just going to take these these are really tiny ones too. We're just going to set them in there. This is going to take me a little while, so give me a little bit here and I'll bring you guys back in, but that's pretty much what we're going to be doing all the way around. There you go. The last 5 or 6 was easier for me to slide the pin back in and then feed those last few in there, then try to get those last few in there. So next thing, we got the washers, a little bit of assembly goo on there as well. We got to put one on both sides. So we got to get this in. Get this in here. The washers all lined up. Not losing any of our needle bearings. Yep. Rebuild your own transmission, they say. Okay. Looks like we're pretty close. Just gotta line this up. So you got this hole right here where this pin goes in. We got to make sure that stays lined up. There we go. Pin in. Now hopefully we're lined up and I can just tap this back down. There you have it. Our pin is in there and we now have our servo back together. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we need to get this band arm, I don't know what you call it, but it's going to go up in there like that, and it's going to go onto this little ball right there. So what we're going to do is set that in there like that. See it? And then we're going to slide the band up tight to it, just like that. All right, now we're nice and tight against that. And then this is the fun one. We're going to have to goop this up pretty good with some Vaseline. And then we're going to just stick that right there. And then there's a, let me see if I can get this for you. But you can see the hook right there. I've got to hook that onto the band while I slide this into place over these bolt holes. All right, so let's see if I can do this. I think I got it. All right. Doesn't seem to want to line up. My bolt holes, that is. It's like I'm hitting up here. I'm not sure what's going on there. I was able to get one bolt started. My key's engaged still, but here's where I was having a little bit of problem. That needs to set up on top of this flange, just like that. I had to try to get down inside there, but that's not how it goes. It goes up here like that. So I just need to get this other bolt in and tighten this down. Also, make sure the longer bolt goes toward the middle here, because that's the one that has the little ball end that holds that plate down in there in place from sliding back and forth. There you go. It's all tightened up and in place. Okay, so this is the aft servo. We just finished the forward, oh no, I'm sorry, we just finished the aft one. This is the forward one. Same deal, just a snap ring. This one was not under a tremendous amount of pressure. I was able to, you saw the fluid coming out, but squeeze it down to relieve the pressure to get the ring out. So I didn't need the press for this one. So anyways, we just come out like that. There's your spring in there. And I guess I'm going to need to undo that screw so I can get these completely apart. Yep. And judging from that, that should be all that needs to be done. I can go ahead and clean all this. So let me go ahead and undo this screw, pull these two apart, make sure there's no additional O-rings inside there or anything I need to do, and then we'll clean it, new O-rings, put it back together. You know the drill. Okay, guys, here we go. All clean, ready to install. All right, so let's start with spring. And then I've got new O-rings. There we go. We're good there. Then we'll go ahead and go on with our spring clip. And, you know, it's going to be a pain. Sure, why not? Why not? This one's tough. This one here is a tight spring. Come on. There we go. Springs in. The only thing left on this was there was these two tubes that went there and there. I imagine they'll hook to something inside the transmission, but anyways, I'll just leave them in there for now. All right, let's put it on the transmission. All right, so let's go ahead and move this. So we got Vaseline, and this is our arm right here. And this, if you remember from the other band, this is going to go to the band. So we're going to stick this in here, and then we're going to come around and try to get this end into the band. All right. All right. You can see. Let me see if I can get you a little bit better. There you go. So here's your band that we're going to try and get that into. You want this up against the case here, and then this is where you're going to try and get that pin there to go as you slide the whole assembly in. So this is going to be tricky. I'm going to take these out of my way for now. I can go back on later. All right, I think we got it. Ha! First try, all right, like it. Now, we get our bolts in. Got one. And two. All right, so there you go. We got it on. And I know it's hard to see up in there, but there's the other band half there. There you go. And that key is in there because you can see it's tight. Everything's tight in there. Down in here. And we just got our bolts on and started. I'll go ahead and get those tightened and torqued. And then I'll set these back in there. They just went right there. All right, let me tighten this up. All right, so we're going to work on the valve body here. So we're going to take this top layer off. We're going to just layer by layer, from what I can tell on these things. And we'll just take it one step at a time. So looks like there's just some screws holding this top layer on. There's 3 bolts and several screws. So let's go ahead and start knocking those out. Woo, they're tight. Woo, those screws are tight. Okay. The first one, I'm going to take this and clean it. All right, there's a metal shield that goes on here that's like a gasket, metal gasket. I'm going to make sure all this is cleaned out real good. Okay, so this looks like there's a screw here. There's a screw here. Possibly this one. Keep taking screws out till it comes apart, huh? Okay. Ooh, that one was in there. All right, so there's the 2 screws. And there you go. This one came off. There's 2 more screws underneath here to get the metal gasket here. We'll leave that together for now. Okay, then you have this main body here, separated and needing to be cleaned. Then there's this little spot up here. We're going to take that piece off. All right, then here's the smaller piece. And same thing. We just got a metal gasket. And there you go. All right, so there's that. All right, so I've cleaned these 3 layers. And you can see I'm trying to be very careful to keep everything where it goes and how it goes back in. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this one, get these plates back on, and get that all set so this one can be done. So, all right. All right, so now that I got this one all put together, I've got this one cleaned and all laid out just like it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and put all that back in. And I think we're ready to put this whole valve body back together after that. All right, so I got this one all put back together. And I discovered in doing so that my shifter here, lever, was bent. And I couldn't get it to go all the way in. So I was able to take this out, really fine tune where the bends were and slowly work them out. But Now she slides in and out where it did not do that before. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and assemble all of this back together and get it ready to put back on the transmission. There you go. It's all back together. And hopefully it's all back together right. We'll see. But see how that, where the shift linkage hooks up to? Slides in and out of there nice now. I couldn't get it to go all the way in before. I could get it to go in about that far. That was it. Couldn't get it to go past that. So she goes all the way in. Pretty smooth now. Okay, we're down to our last piece. Oops. Put the little hat back on. There we go. Anyway, we are down to our last piece. Should clean all this up. This goes on. These go in there as well. So this one was pretty basic. Just take it apart and clean it. Make sure you keep track of what comes out, where it came out. Same deal as last time. I'm going to put this together and we'll get it up here. All right, we got this one on. I'm just going to tighten these up, and then I can put the pistons and springs that go in here and lock all that down. Okay, so now we give up the big springs that go in here. This ought to be fun. Got this one, and you got that one. And then I'm going to have to figure out a way to get these compressed and not fly all over the place. There we go. All right. Got them in there. Locked down. All right. Now we just got to put some of our oil passage tubes in here. All right, so we got this tube here. That is going to go in here. It's got to go in there, down there somewhere. Feeling for it. No, I don't think we hit whatever I'm supposed to be getting into here. There it is. All right. Okay, let me get a mallet. We'll tap that down. All right, let me put this tube in here. And we'll just all right. That's in. Let's see, we got what? A couple more. All right, then this one here goes in between the valve body and I guess looks like with the regulator. Not sure. Okay, there's that one. Okay, last tube, new O-ring, lubed it up. It'll just go down right in here next to the servo. There we go. There. Snaps right in. All right. I think that is going to be it. I'll go around and make sure all the bolts are snugged. But otherwise, I think we got it pretty well set. The shifter's working. The kickdown's working in there. So we're good all around there. All that's in. All our tubes are in now. I got the vacuum modulator to put on and the filter. And I think we're going to wrap this up then, but let me grab those couple things and we'll get them on. So we have one last thing that we can do before we cover this up, because we can't get to it once the oil pan's on. So we need to make our band adjustment for the forward band. So I'm going through the directions I got with the kit, very first thing you do is you got to back off this 9/16 jam nut. Okay, get that pulled out of your way. Pull this lever back. Put a 1/4 inch spacer between the screw and the housing here. Okay, then we're going to tighten down the screw to about 10 inch-pounds. All right, so let's just start with that. Okay, so I feel like we're probably there. 10 inch-pounds is very little. So I think we're probably there. Okay, now that we have this set at about 10 pounds, then we can remove. All right, I'm going to do it with 2 hands because I don't want this dropping in the case, but this needs to, your spacer needs to come out, okay? Okay, now we've got the spacer out of there, and we're going to back the screw out 1 complete turn according to the directions. There's a half, and there's 1. Okay, the next thing will be to tighten the lock nut. So I'll snug that, and then what I'm going to do is hold this with a screwdriver, and then we're going to tighten that down to 20 to 25. What do we got here? Foot-pounds. There you go. It's all torqued and now adjusted. Now that we have our forward band adjusted, let's go ahead and come down here. This is where we're going to adjust the rear band. Pretty simple. I'm just going to walk you through it. Back off your jam nut until it's loose. Loosen up your screw, adjusting screw, and then bring it back in to 10 foot-pounds. Once you have that, back this off 1.5 turns, and then lock down the your lock nut here, 35 to 40 foot-pounds. And let me double check on that. Yeah, 35 to 40 on the lock nut. And that's it. And you're adjusted. Well, there you have it. We have successfully tightened both our bands and adjusted them correctly. Everything else looks to be in pretty good shape. It's all together. The only thing really left to do now will be to put our oil pan on, which I'm not going to bore you with that. Anyway, guys, there it is. Right there, all done and looking good. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you on this one. It was a lot. We got a lot accomplished. We tore that thing down. We cleaned it up. We painted it, and we put it all back together. Now, considering this is my first build of a transmission, let's hope it works. Guys, if you've got one of these or a similar C4, Cruise-O-Matic, Ford-O-Matic, whatever, they are not necessarily difficult to do. They're heavy on the process. Everything has to be done in a certain order and all those things. And there's stuff out there to help you guide you along. There's the book. There's some videos. Don't be afraid, to freshen up your transmission, because it's really, I did it, and I've been afraid of touching transmissions. I know nothing about them. I really just never wanted to touch one. I was more than willing to take it to a transmission place, say, do it, I'll pay you. But I'm glad I did this. Yeah, it's one of the easier transmissions to do, but I mean, it's a stepping stone. Now I can go on, maybe do a little bit more difficult one on the next one. So we'll see. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you on the next one.